There is a strange and almost paradoxical law that governs human relationships, a law that does not emerge from logic or reason, but from the shadow depths of the psyche. You have felt it, though perhaps you could not name it. It is the magnetic tension between the light of the empath and the unspoken resentment of those who secretly wish to extinguish that radiance. Why is it that the soul who gives, who heals, who perceives with an unguarded heart, so often draws near those who seem unsettled by its very presence? Why is the one who feels most deeply, the one who is misunderstood, envied, or even quietly hated? This is not a coincidence. It is not fate in the simple sense. It is an alchemical reality woven into the unconscious dynamics between self and other. Empathy is not just a personality trait. It is a manifestation of what I call the self, the totality of all psychic contents, both conscious and unconscious. When someone is truly empathic, they are not merely sensing emotions or reading the invisible language of energy. They are allowing themselves to become a vessel through which the collective unconscious can speak. Such a person is luminous, not because they try to be, but because the very act of openness creates a field of awareness that others feel in ways they cannot articulate. And yet there is a cost to such light. Wherever there is light, the shadow sharpens its edges. You may have noticed this. When you walk into a room with your quiet presence, the atmosphere shifts. Some people are drawn to you as if to a sacred flame. Others, however, react with subtle irritation or hidden contempt. They may smile, but their energy contracts. They may admire you on the surface, but deep inside, they harbor resentment. What is this hidden hostility? Why does your mere existence stir a discomfort they do not fully understand? The answer lies in the archetype of the shadow. Every person carries a shadow, that dark container of all we refuse to see or accept within ourselves. When someone encounters an empath, they are confronted not only with warmth and light, but also with an uncomfortable contrast between what they are and what they wish they could be. The empath's light, that authenticity, that natural openness, exposes the other's hidden wounds, the unhealed aspects they have buried. This is why resentment arises. It is rarely about you as a person. It is about what you reflect to them, what you awaken within them. Your presence acts like a mirror, showing them both the longing for wholeness and the fear of their own suppressed darkness. I have often said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The empath transforms others simply by being. But transformation is not always welcome to one who is not yet ready to face their shadow. Your light feels like a silent accusation. They may feel diminished in your presence, not because you belittle them, but because your authenticity reveals the artificial masks they wear. It is as though their psyche whispers, "You are not living your truth," and instead of listening, they project that discomfort onto you. They resent you for being what they cannot yet behold: vulnerable, awake. There is also a deeper psychological mechanism at play. The empath is often the archetype of the wounded healer. The reason you can feel so deeply is not because life spared you, but because you have known pain, perhaps in forms that left invisible scars. Your light is not naive. It is born from a long journey through your darkness. Others sense this subconsciously. They sense that you hold a keener knowledge of suffering, transformation, and renewal. Yet instead of seeking to learn from you, many will attempt to siphon your energy or even to dim it. This is the paradox. Your very gift makes you a target. Consider the image of the sun. It gives life, warmth, and clarity. But not everyone welcomes the sun. For some, it is too bright, too exposing. They crave shadows because shadows hide the truth. In the same way, an empath's energy can feel invasive to those who are not ready to be seen. They may call you too sensitive or too emotional, but what they mean is that your sensitivity unmasks what they desperately try to conceal. And here lies the secret resentment. They are both drawn to your light and threatened by it. It is as if they want to stand near the warmth of the fire, but cannot bear the illumination that comes with it. In your waking life, you may find this playing out in relationships where you feel drained, misunderstood, or quietly sabotaged. It is not because you are wrong or flawed, but because you are a living embodiment of that luminous archetype. And wherever such light exists, the shadow rises to meet it. Have you ever noticed how some people seem inexplicably irritated by your kindness, as though they interpret your generosity as a kind of judgment against them? This is a projection. They see in you what they cannot accept in themselves. Perhaps they resent their inability to feel deeply, to connect authentically, to live without the armor of pretense. Rather than face their discomfort, they project it outward. You become too much, the one who tries too hard, the one who feels too intensely. But the truth is, they are not rejecting you. They are rejecting the mirror you hold up to their soul. To live as an empath is to walk the razor's edge between light and shadow. Your sensitivity is both your strength and your vulnerability. It allows you to see the unspoken, to touch the unseen currents of emotion that run beneath the surface of ordinary life. But it also means you will encounter resistance. People will love you for your warmth, but some will resent you for your radiance. This is not your fault. It is simply the way the unconscious reacts when confronted with a force that awakens it. The key is not to dim your light to please others, but to understand the alchemy at play. When you see resentment in someone's eyes, know that it is not a verdict against you, but a sign of their inner conflict. I will tell you something that may surprise you. The people who resent your light the most are often those who secretly yearn for it. They are drawn to you because you remind them of a part of themselves they have lost. You stir in them a longing for authenticity, for freedom, for emotional depth. But because they are afraid of their wounds, they turn that longing into anger, jealousy, or hostility. This is why so many empaths find themselves in relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, where they are both admired and subtly undermined. The unconscious is not rational. It does not measure things in fairness or logic. When someone's shadow is stirred, they do not pause to ask, "Is this resentment truly mine, or am I projecting it?" They simply feel it, often without knowing why. And you, the empath, stand there bewildered, sensing the tension that is never spoken but always present. This is the hidden cost of being attuned to the subtle layers of reality. You feel what others do not want to feel. You absorb the unspoken hostility, the quiet judgments, the half-smiles, and the veiled remarks. Sometimes you even begin to believe them. You start to think that perhaps your light is too much, that perhaps you should shrink, speak less, and feel less. But that is precisely the trap that the unconscious sets when it is not understood. If you shrink, you betray yourself. If you dim your light, you sever your connection to the very essence that makes you whole. When two people meet, it is not just their conscious selves that interact. Their unconscious minds, their archetypes, and their hidden complexes all begin to dance together. The empath often carries the archetype of the anima or animus, inner feminine or masculine principle, that represents emotional depth, intuition, and soulfulness. When someone encounters this archetype outside themselves in the form of an empathic individual, they are drawn to it because it feels like a missing part of their soul. Yet, if they have rejected that part within themselves, they also feel an instinctive anger toward it. It is as if your existence challenges them to face the parts of themselves they have locked away. And not everyone is ready for that confrontation. Many empaths unconsciously take on the role of the one who suffers so that others may feel better. This is not because you want to be a victim, but because you have been conditioned, perhaps from childhood, to believe that love is earned through sacrifice. You may have grown up in an environment where your sensitivity was both a gift and a burden, where you were praised for caring but criticized for feeling too much. Over time, you learn to prioritize others' emotions over your own, to give even when it drains you, and to absorb pain in silence. This creates a pattern that the unconscious recognizes. You become a vessel for other people's projections, both good and bad. They admire you for your warmth, but they also unload their shadows onto you. They resent your light because it reminds them of their darkness, yet they also depend on you to soothe that darkness. This is the double bind in which many empaths find themselves trapped. Imagine holding a candle in a dark room. Around you are figures reaching out to you for warmth, others trying to snuff out your flame. This is not just an image, it is a symbol of your life's journey. The candle is your empathy, your inner light, and your ability to see beyond appearances. The figures are the people you encounter, some who see your light as hope, others who see it as a threat. And you must decide, will you guard that flame, or will you let it flicker and die under the weight of others' resentment? You must understand that the resentment you face is not personal. It is archetypal. It belongs to a universal pattern that has existed for centuries. Look at history, at myth, at religion. The bringers of light have always been misunderstood, envied, and even persecuted. When you embody light, you reveal darkness, and not everyone welcomes that revelation. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you. The empath who understands this dynamic ceases to take it personally. You begin to see resentment as a signpost signal that your presence has touched a nerve, stirred something in the unconscious of another. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and instead ask, "What is this showing me about them and myself?" Because yes, even as an empath, you carry your own shadow. Sometimes you may feel superior in your sensitivity, as though your ability to feel makes you purer or wiser than others. Beware of this temptation. It is subtle, but it can create an unconscious arrogance that others sense and resent. The key is humility to hold your light, not as a weapon or a badge, but as a natural expression of who you are. Deep down, many empaths hold an unconscious belief that they must fix others, that they are responsible for healing the wounds of the world. This belief, noble as it may seem, can become a magnet for those who are unwilling to take responsibility for their healing. They are drawn to you like moths to a flame, sensing that you will carry their burdens, absorb their pain, and ask for nothing in return. But this is not true empathy. This is self-erasure. True empathy does not require you to sacrifice your essence. It requires you to witness and understand without losing yourself. The moment you confuse your light with the duty to heal everyone, you become trapped in relationships where resentment festers, both theirs and yours. Think of yourself as a garden filled with fragrant flowers, a place of beauty and nourishment. People come to this garden, some to appreciate it, some to take from it, and some, tragically, to trample it out of envy. The garden does not choose who enters, but it can choose how it is tended. You must learn to tend your inner garden, to set boundaries like a fence to keep everyone out, but to ensure that only those who respect your light can enter. This is not selfishness. This is self-respect. Without it, your light will dim, not because others have taken it, but because you have given it away without care. Think of a time when someone's resentment pierced you like a knife. Perhaps they mocked your sensitivity, dismissed your feelings, or tried to make you feel small. What did you do? Did you shrink? Did you apologize for being who you are? Or did you hold your ground, quietly but firmly, knowing that their reaction was not truly about you? This is the test of the empath, to stand in your truth without closing your heart, to see the shadow without being swallowed by it. The shadow of others is not your enemy, but it is not your responsibility to carry it. Your role is not to make everyone comfortable. If your light unsettles someone, that is their path to walk. You are not here to diminish yourself to ease their discomfort. Your very presence might be the catalyst they need to awaken, though you may never see the result. There is a sacred turning point in the life of every empath, a moment when you realize that your light is not meant to be spent recklessly, but cultivated like a flame that grows brighter with care. You begin to see that not everyone who reaches for you deserves access to your innermost self. This is not cruelty. It is discernment. For too long, you may have thought that being kind meant saying yes to every request, every demand, every subtle tug on your spirit. But when you live this way, you become a hollowed-out vessel, giving without receiving, shining without replenishment. Those who secretly resent your light will gladly take from you until you are dimmed, not because they are evil, but because they do not know how to nourish their inner fire. The empath's true lesson is not to keep feeding this cycle, but to stand firm, to honor the truth that your light is sacred. There is a difference between compassion and self-sacrifice. Compassion flows from wholeness, from the understanding that every soul must face its own shadow. Self-sacrifice, however, often flows from wounds, from the belief that you must give everything to be worthy of love. The more conscious you become, the more you see this distinction. You begin to recognize when someone's resentment is a mirror of their self-hatred, when their rejection is a projection of their unhealed wounds. And instead of shrinking, you learn to stand in stillness, neither fighting nor absorbing, simply holding your ground. When you face resentment, you are being asked to claim your strength, to hold your light not as a fragile candle, but as a torch that cannot be easily extinguished. This does not mean becoming hard or defensive. It means standing in your essence with quiet confidence, knowing that your worth is not determined by how others react to you. Your light is not only for others, it is also for you. So often, empaths live outwardly, pouring energy into everyone else, but rarely turning that same warmth inward. Your soul longs for your attention. It longs for moments where you sit in silence and let your own heart speak, where you honor your dreams, your own needs, and your fears. When you begin to integrate these parts of yourself, you become less affected by the resentment of others. You see it for what it is, a sign of their disconnection, and you no longer feel the need to fix it or prove yourself. When you feel the sting of resentment, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what is mine to carry and what is not? You are not obligated to absorb the shadow that others cast. You are not required to make them comfortable with your presence. In truth, the discomfort they feel is often the first step of their awakening. Your role is not to ease that pain, but to remain authentic, to be the living example of what it means to feel, to love, and to exist without masks. And yes, this may make you a target, but it also makes you a catalyst. People remember those who challenge them to see more deeply, even if they resisted at first. You must learn the art of energetic boundaries. This is not about building walls, but about cultivating a strong inner center. When your center is strong, you can feel deeply without being overwhelmed. You can love without losing yourself. You can give without being depleted. Boundaries are not barriers. They are the natural edges of your soul's garden. They tell others, this is where I end and you begin. I can hold space for you, but I will not carry what is not mine. When you live this way, resentment loses its power over you. It becomes like a passing storm cloud, perhaps, but incapable of extinguishing your flame. Your light does not need permission. It does not need to be justified or explained. It is the result of your journey, of every shadow you have faced and every wound you have healed. Those who resent it are, in a way, acknowledging its power, even if they do so unconsciously. Let their reactions be what they are, reflections of their path. Your task is simply to keep walking, to keep becoming, to keep deepening into the mystery of who you are. In the end, the reason empaths attract people who secretly resent their light is not because there is something wrong with the empath. It is because the empath is a living reminder of what is possible: authenticity, vulnerability, and wholeness. These qualities are rare in a world that prizes masks and facades. When people see someone who dares to live without those masks, they are forced to confront their fear of being real. Some will run from that confrontation. Some will attack it. But others, the ones who are ready, will be inspired. They will see your light and think, perhaps I can shine too. Do not be afraid of the resentment you encounter. It is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are shining. It is a sign that your very being is awakening something in the world around you. Stand in your light. Hold your flame high. Walk the path of the soul with both courage and tenderness. For the world needs what you carry, even if it does not always welcome it. The time will come when even those who resent your light will see that it was not a threat but a gift, a mirror of their unclaimed radiance.